Hello, and welcome to the Encore. My name's Ernesto Alaniz, pastor over at Flint City. I'm here with my good friend,
Pastor Wes from the Rock Church.
Man, it is good to be back in the Encore studios this day.
It sure is. We were off the rails no more than 30 seconds ago. We brought ourselves back, and we're like, we gotta act like mature adults.
If you saw the title of this video, I hope you got a blanket to grab a hold of, because we're going to some weird territories, dude. We're driving to the backwoods of Kentucky today, man.
It's an uncomfortable subject. But first, I was walking over here and I was thinking, I don't want to overplay the start bench cut, so I have today for you, I have an either or.
Either or, okay.
Choose.
Either or, let's do it.
And you have to. There's no,
listen,
you're going to try,
no
follow-up questions. You just answer the question. You know what I'm saying? Like
I understand. I won't qualify. I'll just take one and live with the consequences.
I say this or this, and you say this, and you have to live with it. So, I will qualify one thing. If you choose one, it means you never can choose the other. You follow, so you're picking this as a desert island.
This is forever.
Okay, here we go.
This choice has a finality to it.
It's a finality. Elvis or the Beatles?
This has changed in my lifetime. It's Elvis, baby.
I'm the same.
Long live the king.
I can hear it right now. I stopped myself from singing in an Elvis voice.
Dude, it's right there, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
right there.
Man.
Okay. This is hard. Stallone or Schwarzenegger?
I love both these men. They were a substantial part of my childhood.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have to choose, I'm going Stallone. And I have my reasons for this.
Oh, this is really a hard one.
It's really hard. I'm not taking anything away from the other guy.
I know.
I'm saying body of work-wise, if I only had one set to pull from.
I think so.
I know I lose Predator. Okay, I know that breaks my heart.
You lose the Terminator.
Dun, 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 dun.
You lose Terminator 2.
Listen, I'm doing my part to bring Skynet into reality, but I will let that go. I had a Kenyan in Chicago this weekend. I had a Kenyan tell me, asking him how to help me with some graphic design. I wanted to do some work his way, and he goes, brother, do not pay me for this work. And he gives me this website, and it gives me a code to sign in to how to use AI to design stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're all gonna die. I mean, Skynet
is real.
Skynet is coming.
Skynet is the virus,
dude. So Terminator might be more prophetic than anything else, but I'm still going. Look I cannot lose Rocky. I can't lose him. Rocky is. I know you say Rocky 1's not a classic. I know that
I didn't say it's not a classic.
It's not a good movie.
I did not say that. I said I don't like it.
People, this is Wes Morris who says that the Rocky 1 is not an American classic.
I didn't say that.
Which shows that the flag means more to me than it does to you. It just reveals who is the patriot at this table.
If you're talking about a patriot, you got to only go Rocky 4. That's the patriot. Okay, so
he goes. Oh, what's the line? He's like, if
I can change,
and you can change,
we all can change.
And Gorbachev stands up.
It's terrible and awesome.
Incredible.
It's an awesome, awful moment.
I must break you. I mean, it's just so good. Anyway, sorry.
All right.
I'm Stallone.
Stallone is your answer. Oh,
I'm Stallone.
Man. Oh,
and I know I lost True Lies, dude. Like, I've lost movies that are just.
Listen. The answer is Stallone.
I think it is.
It's a higher quality, and there's more of them. Arnold, he's got some bombs, and some of it is firmly in the realm of cheeseball at this point. Like, you go back, you're like, oh, this isn't how I remember it. Stallone's not like that. Not all of it. Like he's
got some bad movies, like Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
He's got some terrible movies, but he can. It's Stallone. I feel bad. Okay. All of that just derailed me on what I was saying. All right. Lakers or the Celtics?
Now, I want to preface by saying my NBA knowledge is very limited. I was always an NFL guy growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I've come to the NBA later in life. I liked it in the 80s when the Pistons were doing their thing.
100%.
Just because it was our town. It was just cool to be a part of a winning team.
Of course. I almost bought a Bad Boy shirt the other day. I saw it in Dunham's. I'm like, I should wear that shirt.
I'm watching the playoffs this playoff season I'm watching. I've been enjoying it thoroughly. There's some great talent out there on the floor. And there's people that complain about NBA, like it's not the same game. Every game changes.
You're
NFL's
right.
different.
You're right.
MLB's different.
Yeah, I don't get into all that.
So people like to complain and gripe. Listen, you're old, okay? The world changed. Get off my lawn. Listen, this is not about the NBA. It's about you getting old.
Yes.
And so with my limited knowledge, I'm going Lakers.
Me too.
Because I think I'm more flash. I'm
100%.
more.
I'm more LA. I'm more West Coast.
I don't want to say that, but in this instance, when it comes to these two,
all day,
what they're representing, what they represent, I'm with the Lakers.
I'm way more Magic Johnson than Larry Bird, dude. I love Larry Bird is a freak of nature in the best way.
They're great. That rivalry brought the NBA into what it is today. Mm-hmm. Without that, the NBA is a go. It is nothing.
Yep.
It's thinking pickleball without those two teams going after.
Which is a lot of fun. Talk about an old guy game.
I haven't played it yet. I watch it. I'm like, I want to play this.
It's.
Listen, I live in a world where pickleball courts don't exist. So
that's not true. You go over to your local health club, which is up where you live.
It's Davison.
You act like you live in Afghanistan.
Dude, I was thinking.
You love that. No, you don't.
Listen, Afghanistan, right up the road from my house.
God, let's go. This is. I thought we'd do more than that. I should have known.
Okay, so all that said, we love taking questions from the community. If you have a question for us, you can email us at
Encore at rockfenton.com.
At rockfenton.com. And a question this week was a bomb. It was a very large
That's right.
question.
This comes from a question. I forgot
about that.
Yes.
The question was.
You came up with this.
No, I'm not reading the Bible like, it would be a great topic.
I thought, well, this makes me, my respect is returned for you.
The question, though, and I field tested the question, and people understanding is very limited. So the question was, Pastor, what's up with circumcision all the time in the Bible? And it's in there a lot more than you wanted to admit that it's in there.
Old and new, cover to cover.
And as preachers, we often just substitute good works for circumcision. It's like, well, it represents something else, and we just walk by it. People read it must go, what is going on? Why are these biblical authors so fixated on this random medical procedure? And so today we're talking about what's up with circumcision. Okay, that's what we're talking about today.
When you field tested this, as you just said,
people's understanding.
What did you say? What was the question you asked?
Like, man, I thought about the circumcision for the Encore. It's like, oh man, and one guy said, just being stupid. He just goes, we think about some sort of religious thing. Is it a religious thing? Like, I mean, it literally, the people understanding was so, like...
Wow.
It's
okay, great.
It's a joke that immediately goes off a cliff, like, well, I actually don't know what we're laughing about. Like,
That's good, yeah.
It's a joke I don't get.
Yeah, okay.
And so we're going to kind of go through, we have 22 minutes.
There's no way we can go through all of it, but yeah.
And there are dissertations on this stuff, okay?
Oh, man.
That one must have been, what a dissertation that is.
Jeez.
So too much circumcision today, where it comes from, what it meant, and what about now?
Yeah,
so
right.
what it meant, what it came to mean,
yeah,
and what do Christians do with it now? So we're going to kind of go through a journey. So
take us away.
We got to start in the book of Genesis.
Wow.
Genesis 17. And I'm going to jump down to verse 10. Genesis 17, verse 10, this is with Abraham. The covenant's declared to Abraham more than once. It's like it repeated, because you understand, in Genesis 12, the covenant's made with Abraham. God promises Abraham, if you leave your father's house and your father's land, you leave everything you know, and you follow me, I will make you a great nation. Yeah. I will bless those who bless you, curse those who curse you, and through you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. Genesis 12, 1 through 3. This is the promise, okay?
Can we say that this is the advent of circumcision?
Yes, this is where it's
maybe human history. Like, as far as we know, okay, we don't know, but as far as we know, I mean, you seem to have an understanding, but we can also infer that it was also defined to him what the procedure was supposed to be. But we have no record of this prior.
This is a very unique thing among, like it's chosen because it's so foreign to the world. It's chosen to mark these people out because it doesn't exist other places.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Okay.
Verse 10, this is my covenant which you shall keep between me and you and your seed after you, every male among you shall be circumcised, and you shall be circumcised in the flesh of your foreskin, and that shall be the sign of the covenant between me and you. And every male among you who is 8 days old shall be circumcised throughout your generations, one who is born in the house or one who is bought with money from any foreigner who is not of your seed. A servant who is born in your house or who is bought with your money shall be surely be circumcised. Thus shall my covenant be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. But an uncircumcised male who is not circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin, that person shall be cut off from his people. He has broken my covenant.
What does covenant mean?
Covenant is, it's a contract. It's a promise. It's a word we don't use. The only covenant we really have left in our Western world is the covenant of marriage. It's a vow we make before the Lord.
Okay.
It's this thing saying, I promise before God of heaven that I will keep this vow, this promise. And in marriage, it's the till death do us. But I say these bold words before the Lord. And this is a covenant with God's like, listen, Abraham, I'm calling you to myself. I will be your God. You will be my people. Here's a sign of the covenant. Now,
being the circumcision.
Circumcision is the sign of the covenant.
This is the sign, a physical sign.
And it's literally
a mark.
It's a mark on the human body.
Yeah.
And one thing that you got to understand, before we go too far in, this mark does not. How do you say? It's not about the kid. It's about the parents. The kid has like this. The obedience is on the parents' end.
When they mark the 8-day-old child, they are saying, "This is who we are."
We believe
I
this.
see. Yeah.
And because we believe in God, we are continuing this expression.
What do you say?
We
dispense this agreement of faith with God to our.
And it's almost like a baby dedication in a lot of ways. We're saying we honor God, we obey God, we are part of this covenant community, and so part of obeying God, we partake in this every 8 days. And nowadays we have these things called moils.
Moils, yeah.
And the Hebrews have professional circumcisers that come in and they cut off the foreskin of a child.
I don't know if my sons would like me selling them out, but this is what we did. Just because we
Dad!
I know they're gonna be in church like, come on, but
people go up to them, sorry, son.
They don't even know why. They won't even be watching this and be like, what are you talking about on there? So that's how they're gonna be so mad.
You're calling. What moral did you use?
The reason we did it was not because of this covenant. It was not because of any Jewish observances. It was because we home birthed our children. This was how to get this done. We can talk about it more later, but yeah.
So back in this time, for centuries, there was no professional Jewish doctor.
It came around.
It was the parents did this. Like there was the father's duty. And so
just making decisions. I think.
Listen, but it's an act of faith. We're saying, listen, I believe that this is, God has set, and the question is, well, why circumcision? And here's the reality. The Bible does not give us a reason. There are
as to why wouldn't you mark your arm or something? Yeah, like
the Bible. We can all infer things, but the Bible offers no explanation for why this is chosen as the mark of the covenant, the sign of the covenant.
Yeah.
And we can infer things, but listen, the fact of the matter is, we got to be careful to back up our understanding from the modern world and that ancient world back then. The Bible does not tell us why; it just tells us this is what it was.
Yeah.
And generations are born having to say, maybe I don't understand why. But God has called us. This is part of walking with Him, and so we mark ourselves and we mark our children. And this is an act of faith. I'm marking my sons.
Yeah.
And I'm not a doctor, and I have to do this surgical procedure on my boy when he's born.
Yeah.
Every Jew had the mark on themselves and had to do it to the generation, and that kid grew up and do it, and you pass that down.
Yeah.
So it is the faith of the parents more than the faith of the child.
Okay.
Parents are saying we're all in. And now, if you come into the covenant later on, that's a whole different animal. Because the baby, there's no memory of this. It's a very traumatic thing, probably. But there's stories. There's a story in Genesis where that guy wants to marry the sister of the 12 brothers of Jacob's family. They're like, listen, you can, because
doesn't he get him half drunk first or something? There's a story somewhere where like he makes him drink first so that the pain is not.
I think he takes the girl first and says, well, I know I took her unlawfully, but I'm going to marry her because I love her. Well, our families will be united. They're like, oh, it's all good. We love to have a family that's not Jewish, and they the guy, I don't know how the guy wants to marry into Jacob's family, goes to his tribe with, guys, listen, I got to have this girl as my wife. But dude, I don't know if you can part of this Jewish world. I need every one of you guys,
all of them, yeah,
to be circumcised this day. I don't care how good of a friend I am with this guy. It's like, so, oh, shoot, what do you got to do to make this happen? Well, what we all got to do is this. I mean, his brothers, his buddies, I'd be like, no, there's a lot of girls, man. Like, there's a lot of tribes out here in the desert. We got to find someone else.
Oh, my goodness.
But they all go through with the surgery, and they're all healing. They're all in unbelievable pain healing, and two of the brothers come in and just kill them all.
This is the story I'm thinking of. So maybe they weren't drinking or something. No, I thought there was some kind of something, but
I don't remember.
Maybe not. So that's what it was.
They just knifed these.
They're like, oh, we can't really move right now, and they came and killed them all.
Just knifing people with just, and this is why I believe Judah loses. Not Judah. This is why the firstborn. Not Levi. Is it Simeon the firstborn, or is it Reuben?
Of Jacob's
sons. Is it Reuben or maybe Reuben? Reuben loses the blessing because of this action right here. Because he goes nuts and kills all the men in this town. Like, he makes a promise. Jacob's kids are just as bad as he is, man.
Oh my goodness. This is a topic we could talk about for an hour.
So,
all right.
It's a mark of the covenant. It's a sign of the covenant. It's a sign of the faith of parents saying, we trust God and we do this thing. So this becomes part of the Jewish history for century generations. And this is pre-Mosaic covenant. This is pre-law, pre-Sinai, pre-Ten Commandments. This is before all that stuff.
Yeah.
So we get to Moses, the deliverer.
Okay.
So burning bush happens. Moses is called by God to go and set the people free. And on the way to Egypt, God stops Moses and he's angry with him. And this crazy moment takes place. This is Exodus chapter 4, verse 24. Now it happened at the lodging place in the way that Yahweh encountered Moses and sought to put him to death. Then Zipporah took a flint and cut off her son's foreskin and touched his feet with it and said, you are indeed a bridegroom of blood to me. Whew. So God let him alone. At that time she said, you are a bridegroom of blood, with reference to the circumcision.
Wow.
And so this is like, people, if you're reading the Exodus, you get to this, you're like, what is happening? Zipporah doesn't understand this ritual. And we don't know what happened. I don't know if these two fought about it. I got to take this. My son's going to be circumcised. No, we're not circumcising them. We're not doing that to these kids of mine. Yeah. This son of mine. Well, this is part of, Moses knows this is part of his heritage, and he ignores it. And God's like, you say you're with me, and you're not obeying this basic command of our people. And Zipporah.
You think that's what that's about? The anger of the Lord? Right there? I think yes, because of the Lord's response.
Yeah, he's like, you've done what you are now showing faithfulness to me. You're in. So this matters to God back then.
Yeah,
listen,
sure.
And if you want to come into the covenant community as a male, you have to enter in. If you're 50 years old and you want to enter in, this is part of the entry fee.
Yeah. To
show your part. So you're not a baby, you're a man. And if you go through that, you're saying, I don't know everything, but I trust God. I'm willing to go through this pain to get there.
Yeah.
So this is a sign of this covenant, circumcision. It becomes a cultural marker for generations for the Jewish people.
That's a good statement.
Okay. So time goes
as well
forward.
As anyone that comes in from the foreign nations.
Anyone.
The Gentile nations.
In the New Testament, we meet these. They're called God-fearing Gentiles.
Yes.
And God-fearing Gentiles, they get baptized into Judaism, which is crazy because when John the Baptist baptizes Jews, they're like, why are we getting baptized? We're already a part.
Yep.
John's like, snakes, brood of vipers. Dude, John the Baptist is a psycho.
Oh, he's my favorite. I can't read him too much or I become an angry, crazy preacher.
And we're not calling John the Baptist.
No, I know. But I'm like, I think I'm going to try.
And preachers always claim him as their go-to. I'm like, you're not him.
Well, you're not him in function, but there's a boldness that can be an inspiration. There's a clarity to what he says, like when he calls him a brood of vipers who warned you of the wrath to come. I'm like, oh, wow, I have never said anything tough in the pulpit. That's like, oh, my goodness.
But when the time comes, so God-fearing Gentiles, not only are they baptized in Judaism, they go through the rite of circumcision. All the men of the family. So if there's teenage boys, everyone comes into Judaism, must go through this. This was seen as part of entering the kind of community, was going through this ritual. And it is a act of faith.
Okay.
It doesn't, the kid is not saved by this. It's the faith of the parents.
Yep.
So, but because it's been there so long, it becomes to the Jewish people. The Jews have different words they use that are catch-all. They might say the temple. They might say the commandments. And they might say circumcision. When they say these words, they're referring to everything. All our cultural religious heritage, they use these single words to kind of summarize. This is what it means to be Jewish. This is our faith, our culture, our people, what we are. And after Christ leaves,
there was a party of the circumcision, like a political party. Like we're of the party of the circumcision. That's crazy. Like you're saying a lot by doing that. This is a
Christian group that's in the Christian church. So at first, Christianity is Jewish. At the first few years, in Jerusalem's the center of the church. Remember how many people get saved the first day? Is it 2,000 or 5,000?
You talking about Acts
Acts 2.
3,000.
3,000 get saved. And then there's thousands again, like 2 days later.
Yeah.
Like people are the church is being added to daily, it says. And it's all Jewish converts. So at first people think that Christianity is going to be a denomination of the Jewish faith, just like the Sadducees, just like the Pharisees. This is just a group within the Jewish umbrella. And Stephen in Acts, 11?
6 and 7.
6, 7. Oh, yeah, 6, 7. Stephen is like, nah, man. Like, whatever this is, it has outgrown its Jewish box. This is beyond
Christianity.
Christianity,
the gospel,
is beyond the temple. It's beyond the feast. All that stuff is gone now.
Yes.
It's all been fulfilled, satisfied. We're in a different world now. And the Jews are like, no way. And some of the Jews grab onto it and are like trying to hold it back. They want to keep it Jewish. They don't want it to be this big. If you're going to come to the Christ, you're coming through my way station. You got to be Jewish to come on in.
Right.
And one of the big battles is circumcision. Like, you have to be circumcised by the law of Moses, which is funny because it's not a law of Moses.
Right. That's true.
They're saying you must be circumcised in order to be a Christian. You must come through the Jewish heritage to reach the Christ. That is the fight. And that's why you see, it's in Romans, Galatians, Corinthians. It's all over the New Testament. So let's go to Romans 2:25 and read part of this battle. So we have these Jewish Christians who really want circumcision and Jewish heritage to be at the heartbeat of the Christian life.
Yep.
So in 2:25, you can go and read this one. I've read a lot.
How far you want me to go?
25 to 29.
Oh, you gave me a long one. For indeed, circumcision is of value if you practice the law. But if you are a transgressor of the law, your circumcision has become uncircumcision. So if the uncircumcised man keeps the requirements of the law, will not his uncircumcision be regarded as circumcision? And he who is physically uncircumcised, if he keeps the law, will he not judge you, though having the letter of the law and circumcision are a transgressor of the law? For he is not a Jew, this is important, this part. He is not a Jew who is one outwardly, nor is circumcision that which is outward in the flesh. But he is a Jew who is one inwardly, and circumcision is that which is of the heart, by the Spirit, not by the letter. And his praise is not from men, but from God. That's a bombshell right there.
Listen. And
that's
there
really
are
good.
There are Christians today that say to be a Christian you must be circumcised. You must enter this rite. How do you read any of Paul and get that conclusion? Because here Paul is saying circumcision the entire time has been an act of faith. The Jews they made some of these traditions into like spells, into like the superstitions almost. He's like, it was never about the act. It was about the trust behind. baptism for us.
Yeah.
It doesn't save.
Yeah, same. Well, it's even compared sometimes.
It is.
Yeah, it's even compared to circumcision in a way. Yeah.
Baptism for us is a matter of the heart.
Yeah.
The pastor's words don't matter.
Right.
Doing it on Sunday doesn't matter. What matters is the heart of the recipient.
Right.
I love God. I'm obeying God. I'm going to follow God. And I do this act out of that faith I have in him. Mm-hmm. Circumcision is the same way. He says, listen, it's a circumcision of the heart is what matters. Like he says, it was always about faith. It's not about the action. And if that leaves anything you want to say with this text.
Well, I have a question. Do you equate? Would you ever draw a parallel in the Bible in explaining something to somebody about baptism to circumcision? Would you explain that? Would you ever say that baptism is an outward marker of the Christian, of what has happened internally in their heart? Is that what that is? Can you draw, I hear people do this, they draw parallels to circumcision. Is that allowed?
I don't know if the Bible makes that connection.
You hear people do this?
Dude, Presbyterians live there.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to dog Presbyterians. They're my brothers. I love them.
No, I understand.
I
have my buddy in Florida is a great Presbyterian. He may be watching right now. He has talked about baptism with regard to circumcision many times.
That comparison is why Presbyterians baptize their infants.
The babies, yep.
Because they say it's the faith of the parents, not the faith of the infant.
Yes. So you're imparting faith in some way, but it's not
you're joining the faith
like,
community by being baptized as an infant. Mm-hmm. But I think again, I don't think the Bible makes that connection. And so again, I try not to make connections that are not there.
I agree. I don't do it either. I've never done that. But I see similarities in the meaning behind it. But I don't think you can say, well, baptism is the New Testament circumcision. People say that. I'm like, it is?
Paul never says that. Christ doesn't say it. No one makes a direct comparison, and so I don't either. Not saying you're evil if you do.
That might be a bombshell on somebody. People really think that like there was one here and baptism is here and those are the same.
That's more of a theological understanding than a biblical understanding. I'll say it that way.
Hey. Okay. Oh, man.
But okay, so here it's a matter of the heart, and so we'll read one more small verse just to make sure we're on the same page. Galatians 6:11-16. Mm-hmm. And in case it's not crystal clear, we have this passage, Galatians 6:11-13. It says this: See with what large letters I am writing to you with my own hand. As many as are wanting to make a good showing in the flesh, these are trying to compel you to be circumcised simply so that they will not be persecuted for the cross of Christ. For those who are circumcised do not even keep the law themselves, but they want to have you circumcised so that they may boast in your flesh. But may it never be that I would boast except in the cross of our Lord Jesus Christ, through which the world was crucified to me and I to the world. For neither is circumcision anything, nor uncircumcision, but a new creation. And those who will walk in step with this rule, peace and mercy be upon them and upon the Israel of God. I mean, there it is.
All right, let me read this verse 12 again, and just in case people... Those who desire to make a good showing in the flesh try to compel you to be circumcised, simply so that they will not be persecuted for the cross of Christ. What does he mean by that?
Okay. Remember in Galatians, when the circumcision party comes to Antioch, and Peter and Paul are having a big meal.
The literal party of the circumcision.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're having a
Christian
meal.
people that believe in this.
From Jerusalem, they come, and they are
this is good.
Influential.
Yeah.
They're the cool kids. Dude.
Yeah.
They come, and before this, so it's Peter, it's Paul. They're hanging out with, and all Paul's leaders he's trained up are there. The church of Antioch is there, and Peter is eating with everybody. He's having.
That's right. Yeah.
And when they get there, Peter withdraws from the Gentiles, from the uncircumcised filth, and hangs with the truly clean, good believers. And Paul withstands him to his face.
Yeah, and he says, because you stood aloof.
He's like, listen, these guys that push, like, if the people that fold to this, they just want to be with these cool kids. They just want, like, they don't want to suffer for us cross alone guys.
Yeah.
We get punched by everybody, and we do. How many denominations out there right now that always want to add some kind of mystery, some kind of like secret knowledge to the faith? We are saved by grace through faith. The cross is where the battle is won.
Yeah.
Guys like Greg Locke saying, this demon crap he's doing.
You love dropping names.
He came to my city and tried to bring his heresy with him. Listen, dude,
you love waiting for fights in the parking lot.
Okay,
no, he's
there are guys who say,
disaster. He's a dangerous disaster.
Healing, tongues, baptism. People want to add all these things.
Yeah.
Dude, there's a church out in Redding, California with the Bethel crew. They're like, part of their membership class is learning the dreams of their founder. Who gives a crap about that guy's dreams? Okay. To quote Count Zinzendorf, preach the gospel, die, be forgotten. Stop selling yourself, Bethel guy. Like, people love to be these prophetic people. Yeah. We have a prophet. We have a savior, and it ain't you, and it ain't you. It's Jesus.
Yeah, that's good. People are going to love that.
Like the cross plus nothing. Yeah. When people try to tickle your ears and say, "Oh, I have this way to get deeper, a way to be closer," they're lying to you.
Yeah,
they're going to take your money. They're going to take your allegiance. You
got to go to their seminars. You got to go to their special schools. Yeah.
Do you charge to preach the gospel anywhere?
Of course not.
Heck to the no.
Of course not.
Okay,
No, I know. I don't even take an offering anywhere. I'm not even saying people are bad that do. You're allowed to do it, but I don't even want to mix that up. But
it's like these guys, like these guys that compel you, they want to be in with the cool kids. Mm-hmm. Us who are cross only, we're called boring. We're called elementary. We're called the simple things. What are some of the charismatics say? Oh, I believe in the full gospel. How condescending is that? We have the full message. You guys only have the beginning, but we've graduated to a higher level.
You're really mad right now.
Okay, I got to calm down.
You're mad at a lot of people.
But people talk this trash. Listen, we're not better. We're not better. I'm not better. We're not better.
No, my goodness.
The cross, though, we'll never get beyond that.
So this is about adding. So they're adding. You don't want to be persecuted for the cross. You want to be accepted in a cultural Christianity of your time.
So I'm going to join this circumcision party, which Paul did, or which Peter did do.
Yeah.
And Paul had to do that. That must have been, that ruined that party real fast. Mm-hmm. But think about all these Gentiles. Like Antioch Church is mostly Gentiles. And they're eating with Peter, one of the disciples, and then he leaves them, and they immediately feel like, I guess we're second-class citizens. I guess we are not as close to God as all those cool guys are. Mm-hmm. Forget that stuff, dude.
Yes.
Forget that stuff.
That's good. That's a good application.
Neither is circumcision.
Nothing's changed. This is still in our time.
Dude, like people are still selling circumcision. So
literally circumcision. Like literally, people spiritualize that. Like it's not even like, well, the circumcision of our time is false spiritual giftings or something, which is true. But like the actual thing is still a problem.
Okay, so we went through where it came from. Abraham, sign of the covenant. It's part of the Jewish faith for a long time. We see Exodus 4 with Moses. It does matter to God. Come to the New Testament, and it's such a part of the culture. When the Christian church begins moving out of Judaism, people start freaking out, and there's a lot of issues.
Yeah,
there's meat sacrifice to idols. There's who you eat dinner with. There's a lot of issues from that law. Circumcision is one of these big issues, and so the question is: do Christians have to circumcise their children?
No,
not at all.
No, and and it's not for health reasons. People say that it's for health benefit. No, it's not. It never was.
Like America did it for a long time. I think it's because we were friends with Israel so much, and because we love the Bible, so we thought we see it here, we want to kind of be like them.
Yeah.
But you don't have to
No.
Paul, there's two. I don't want to go too far in it, but he has two followers, and one he encourages circumcises, and one he encourages not to get circumcised, based upon the culture they're reaching into, which is very unique. So he does, in one guy's instance, say it'd probably be good for you because of who you want to reach for the gospel. It'd probably be good to take the mark of the covenant. And another guy says, don't do it. If you fold in this way, the heretics will think they beat you. Like so.
Okay.
Depending on who he's reaching.
Yeah, that's good.
So it's not like there's so. Are you evil if you got circumcised? No. If you're evil if you didn't, no. It means nothing. What matters is a new creation. So in the Bible, when you read circumcision, you're reading about a cultural war because Christianity is leaving the Jewish faith, and it freaks some people out. And we do not have to be Jewish to be Christian.
Yeah.
You can come from an Anglo-Saxon world. You can come from a Mexican world. Whatever culture you come from.
Well, I was thinking about that. I was even thinking about American patriotism, American, loyalty to our culture and our way of life, our system of economy, whether it be capitalism or something like that, our system of government. People Christianize that. And to me, this is a very similar
Big
thing.
time.
Like, that's fine. There are Christians in China and there are Christians in the Arab countries and these places. But if you really want to live the full Christian life, you live the American. We're the closest, people think. And that's not true.
No, capitalism is not Jesus' favorite form of
I know. People
commerce.
think, that's not true. And this is exactly when it was big, when it outgrew and it was bigger than Judaism and the Jewish culture. People bucked the system, and they still do that today because Christianity will not bend into the American preferences and way of life. And many of it does. Much of it does. A lot of people make a lot of money or gather large crowds to conform Christianity into an American version, and that is not true Christianity.
No, it's not. It's beyond us. It's just too big of an
right.
idea
I
to
mean,
get
but
into.
that's what people should think about. It's like that. People, because you could look at this and go, man, those crazy early Christians who were Jewish, they made some big mistakes. How could they? Well, it's right in front of your face. We're still doing it.
When I moved to India and lived there for 2 years, I began seeing the things that Indians had subconsciously brought into their Christian faith from their Hindu religion.
Yep.
And it's very easy to see in other people.
Yeah.
But being there a long time, I realized, I wonder if I've done the same thing. And there are things it's hard to get inside your own head. It's hard to see beyond. There are things you're given by your parents, by your culture, by your friends that you just adopt without thinking. And like, this is not Jesus.
Right.
Like, some of these things are American and not like our love of guns. That's not a Jesus thing. It's an American thing.
Right.
Has nothing to do with God.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
That's a political issue independent from the... Listen, I mean... There's an argument to be made the other direction.
There are.
There is. Like, we can't just... And I'm not trying to...
I know you're not trying... So people wouldn't misunderstand. You don't have a dog in the fight.
No.
It's not what we're saying. But don't Christianize. Don't try to think the Bible backs your political position that Jesus did not die for, and it's not stated that way. It's just not.
My form of masculinity that I inherited from my Latino culture, that form of masculinity is not a biblical form of masculinity. I may try to find one guy who looks like that, but Jesus is not machismo. He's not. He's just not. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Trying to make Jesus like as stupid and arrogant and stubborn as me doesn't exalt Christ. It exalts myself and makes Christ look bad.
Yeah, that's a very good way to say it. Yep.
So, circumcision.
Yeah,
we've been through a lot of things.
Get out of there.
Okay, but I hope this was helpful. Mm-hmm. And again, there's a lot of things we didn't answer why. We don't say why this is a thing, and we didn't say why because the Bible doesn't say why.
Mm-hmm. But it is a matter of the heart either way.
It's a matter of the heart either way.
And no, you don't have to do it.
And you don't have to do it. I think we handled that with some grace
and maturity.
I think so. We didn't giggle about anything.
Nope. There are a lot of things we could have stayed, and we left it. We just left it. We let the pitches go by, and we moved forward. I'm proud of us.
Okay. Before we mess this up.
Yep.
If you have any questions for the show, we'd love to say email us at
Encore@rockfenton.com.
This is your house. You know, you guys change your email website so many times. I don't even know what it is. When I go to type in your name on my email, there's like 3 different emails for Wes Morris. I'm like, stinking cool kids changing their name all the time.
ENCORE@rockfenton.com, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time.
We'll see you next week on the Encore.
We changed it twice.